it's kind of weird when you have a smaller crew of the media out there at BYU events. Now, let's think about it. Tuesday had the debut of the Utah Hockey Club inside the Delta Center. There's plenty of hoopla going on around that. I was there for the early part of the Fan Fest and everything going on, and I can tell you, it's going to be a really, really cool thing to have the Utah Hockey Club as part of the sports environment here in Utah. But that drew away some reporters. There's also this thing called the Black Desert Championship taking place in Ivins, Utah, down by St. George. It's the first PGA Tour event in Utah in 60 years. Well, there's a number of reporters who were sent down to cover that. So that left us all alone not all alone, but left a number of us who still went down to BYU football media availability with less people to talk to the players and coaches that had been requested. I had an opportunity, I'll tease this ahead for later this week, to catch up with John Taumoi-Apeau, a great conversation with, I think, a guy who's emerging at defensive tackle for the Cougars. But I had an opportunity during the general media session, and what that is BYU brings the coordinators, usually quarterbacks like Jake Retzloff, speak to the media at large. It's not necessarily a one-on-one like I had with a guy like John Taumoi-Apeau. But when I'm standing there and a lot of other media members who were there were also over doing other interviews, well, that left me one-on-one with Crew Wakley. Now, I've always appreciated Crew's candor. He is a guy that speaks his mind. This is a guy, remember, he played football at Utah State, was an all-state quarterback in high school, went to Utah State, transformed into a pretty decent safety, but then actually essentially gave up football for a time. He was selling solar panels in California, and he made good money doing that. And he decided, you know what? I love playing football. He missed it. So he called up coaches that he knew and got a chance, and BYU essentially said, yeah, you can come walk on. You can come try out for us and see if you make the team. It was incredible to consider where he was, speaking of a guy, once again, who had essentially quit football, was working in the solar panel industry, and then decides, I still love the football. I want to get back to playing it, and then kind of finds his way to BYU, walks on, and has emerged as a key part of this BYU defense. It's a really, really cool story, but I also appreciate the fact that this is a guy who understands what it's all about to play at BYU, what it entails, and you're going to hear him talk about LaVell Edwards Stadium in, I think, the most unique take I've heard in quite some time about how raucous an environment, they like to call it LaVell, how like LES, how raucous an environment it is, because he has the outsider perspective, having played in Provo as a member of an opposing team, but also having played and suited up for the home team. So without further ado, I'm not going to waste any more time by bloviating on here. Here's that conversation, literally myself talking with Crew Wakley one-on-one during BYU media availability.
Bye week, how did it treat you?
It was good. I mean, nice to recover, but I think I speak for a lot of people when I say we're chomping at the bit to get back after it. So it was good. I mean, it's nice to have a week off, but yeah, we're ready to play ball again.
When you guys started season 5-0, do you kind of say, man, I wish we wouldn't have a bye week and just get right back after it?
Yeah, probably a little bit of that, but at the same time, you just got to be grateful for the opportunity to kind of recover and reset and not let 5-0 get to your head. You know what I mean? It's like you have the whole week, 2 weeks you got everybody, oh, you're 5-0, didn't think you'd be cool. Well, we got to go 6-0. 5-0 doesn't mean anything if you don't go 6-0. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's cool and all, but the bye week was kind of good for us to reset, get back to our fundamentals, clean up some of the things we've been getting away with, and really just hone in on what we do. So.
Big noon kickoffs coming in. You guys are ranked 14th in the country. Does that change anything in your mindset at all?
Not at all. We're going in there to win a game. You could have LaVell full or LaVell empty, which it never would be, and you could have big noon or whatever. Like, the same team's coming in, and we're going to play the same game. So.
We got a very good quarterback in Fifita. He seems to get the ball out really quick. What are you guys going to try to do to slow him down in particular?
Yeah, he's really good. He's talented, really elusive outside. So contain him, keep him in the pocket as much as you can, and just limit their big plays. Make them beat you with something they haven't done yet. So that's kind of our thought process, and I don't think it's giving away any secrets with who he's going to go to with the ball. They love for, and he's a great player too. So they've got some weapons for sure, but don't let them do what they've done to other teams.
Talk about McMillan. I know you don't cover guys typically one-on-one, but
yeah,
he's a game-changing, game-breaking type receiver.
Yeah.
How difficult is it to prepare for a guy like that?
It's nothing but respect for him. I don't know if I'd call it difficult. it's difficult to play against him, obviously. Good player. And like I said, nothing but respect for the way he plays. Fun to watch. So for us, I don't think anybody's nervous about it. They're just excited for the opportunity to go against him. I've said it before. We want to play the best, and he's the best. So it'll be fun. I'm excited.
Did you watch that Texas Tech game?
Yeah.
What did you take away from just the overall?
Texas Tech was just physical, and I think that's something that plays to our strength and something that we can definitely do when we play them. So be physical and play sound. Don't let them, like I said, don't let them beat you with the big plays, and don't get down if they get a big play. It's going to, McMillan gets a big ball, cool. It is what it is. Line up, play the next down.
Can you quantify how big of a home field advantage LaVell Edwards Stadium is?
I don't think you can. I don't think, because I remember people telling me that. They're like, I'm like, what's the coolest part about playing at BYU? They're like, oh, LaVell. I'm like, what do you mean LaVell? It's a stadium. And then you get in there, like, okay, I know what they mean now. So I don't think you can really put that you can't quantify it. It's just, if you've been there, you've felt it. And when we get rolling and the crowd gets into it, you got the rock, the fans, it's electric, it's fun. So there's nothing like it.
There you have it, Crew Wakley, and I appreciate him talking about LaVell Edwards Stadium. He said you have to experience it. And I think any of you who have been to a game in the recent past at LaVell Edwards Stadium know how raucous of an environment it's become. It truly has become a home field advantage that I don't think many teams are able to enjoy, much like the BYU football program is able to enjoy it. So really cool to hear Crew talk about that. You also heard him talk about what he expects as BYU faces off against Arizona. He knows the challenge of Teitaroa McMillan. He also understands what BYU is going up against with Noah Fifita. This is a dangerous Arizona team. We saw them go to Utah and beat the Utes. They made the vaunted Utah defense. Remember, this is a Utah defense that Kyle Whittingham himself proclaimed, we have not had many defenses that are deeper than what we had. And this Arizona team, quite frankly, made that Utah defense look ordinary and average. That is a concern if you're a Cougar fan. But I think that Crew and the rest of the BYU defense, they know what they're up against. He said the Texas Tech game and said he learned watching that. I think going back to our original opening take on today's show is this is a BYU team that is built to kind of endure a lot of the crap that seems to come up. And whether that's social media posts, BYU fans being upset with whatever it might be, lousy podcasters ripping into the team, whatever it might be. That's a just subtle dig at myself. But I think that they are built and they are essentially focusing on the here and now. They know what they're up against. They know how disappointing last season was. And they heard about it all off season long. Heck, their own strength staff, that video still can't get out of my mind. There's a strength coach, I remember which one it was sitting there during a workout in LaVell Edwards Stadium. Hey, you guys want to go 5-7 again? Keep doing what you're doing. You got to pick it up if you really want to improve this year and become the team that you want to be. That stings for football players. These guys are competitors. All of us are competitors to a level, but I'm telling you, guys who play at this level of Power 4 football, you've got to be among the elite of the elite when it comes to being a competitor. That's how you put up with everything that it entails. The weight room workouts, the long hours, obviously the grit and grind, and just the overall dings and dents you pick up playing this sport. And I think that Crew is a better example than most because, once again, he'd essentially given up on football and left the sport, and just for the quote-unquote love of the game, walks on with BYU football and now finds himself still a walk-on in a critical role for this BYU football program heading into a really, really tough matchup on Saturday. But you heard him say it. They want to get to 6-0. That's the best part about being 5-0 is they can get to 6-0. And for that, I think we can all get behind this BYU Cougars squad. And we'll see how it all goes Saturday afternoon. I think it's going to be an absolutely incredible environment. Mid-afternoon, it's going to be relatively warm here along the Wasatch Front. Heck, I'm wearing shorts deep into October at this point, and I'm happier than a clam because I love shorts weather. But it is going to be a really, really fun day on Saturday, and hopefully BYU can do exactly what Crew kind of talked about, is go out there and prove themselves once again to everybody that may still have doubts about this BYU football program. And I think those doubts, once again, are well-founded, but at the same time, I think we can celebrate the fact that the Cougars have surpassed, I think, literally every expectation that this squad could have had coming into this season.